right, man, it's on the radar. I got Harlem's own Deli, 27 Deli.
What's poppin', yeah.
What
Deli,
up, bro?
27 Deli, you know.
So tell me what that 27 mean, because I know like you use one on Instagram,
Yeah.
and you use one for the music.
Yeah, facts.
So what's the significance of the 27?
So 27 is really like the aesthetic of everything, and Deli is just like, you know, for the music. Like 27 Deli, I felt like I didn't want to be an artist called 27 Deli because there's 21 Savage and all of that. Like I didn't want to have like a numerical name. But 27 basically comes from half of 54, which my pop's brand was Ferg 54, and 27 was half of 54, and my father had 2 sons, so it's like my brother and me. So my brother had a brand called Ferg 27 back when he was like around my age, and then like, but he never really did anything with it. So it was only right that I picked up on the other half of that 27
to carry on that that legacy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're from Harlem.
Yeah.
So how did like Harlem kind of shape your music and how like your persona as an artist?
It's funny because like at first when I first started making music, I wasn't really doing anything like Harlem. I was really like on some islander swag because my family's from Trinidad. So I was making
like some soca beat.
I was making
like some
soca music.
Like
I called it soca pop because it was like hip hop mixed with soca music. And then that really wasn't the swag, and like, you know, a lot of my friends would listen to it, but it wasn't really the real vibe. So like I had to take like a real deep dive into like where I'm from and stuff like that. So I started listening to like Mace, Cameron, like Dipset, who else is from Harlem? Big L. I was listening to like a bunch of different artists, and I was really like, yo, I gotta get the swag correct so my hood could jack it.
So you didn't fuck with making soca music?
I did, but it was like after a while, it just got.
I guess it's like it's also kind of like the play, like depending where you grew up in, you know. Right, what I'm saying?
Exactly. I'm from like my family originated in Trinidad, but like I wasn't born and raised there, so it was like you felt the force.
It's like there are people from Trinidad and New York, but it's not like you're appealing to only a Trinidadian audience. You feel me?
I was like, I got too much swag to just be limited in the islands.
Dope. And I see that kind of came through on your Cross My Mind record just a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
because you had like you did like a little pop in there, and I was kind of getting like some island vibes from that.
Oh yeah, facts. Like I definitely use island melodies. Like, you know, rhythms are big in like the islands, and you know, you pick up flows from different other people. Like, you know, you're always influenced by whoever you listen to, and I was real like in that part of my life. Even though I don't present it anymore, it still never it never left me. And
that's good because now I feel like a few years ago the whole thing was like dancehall and like that reggae type of sound. But now like it's moving more towards, I feel like, soca and Afrobeat.
Yeah, it definitely like, and the thing is like it comes in waves. Like, you know, music comes in waves. Like I could have continued to do the soca, but then it's just like, you know, after that, like once that wave is done, then what's next? Like, you got to be able to be dynamic and do both. Like you can't just be, oh, I'm a soca artist, or like once you're an artist, you're an artist. That means you could pick up anything and do anything.
Facts. So tell me about this. Since we're talking about Harlem, you got a new tat.
Yeah.
And it's Harlem World.
Yeah.
And we was talking about how much that shit hurt.
You know can I curse?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah. Nah, that shit hurt a lot. Like I was like in damn near tears, like because it's been a while since I got a tat. Like the last tat I got was like on the side of my face. It was like the D was the initial for Deli, but I couldn't fathom that, you know, since this tat didn't hurt, that my next tat wasn't gonna hurt.
See, you would think that this would hurt since it's right on the side of your skull like that.
Like I was like, I could have just. It felt like I wasn't even in the seat for more than 5 minutes. Like this one only took like 20 minutes, but I felt like 2 hours. It was really painful. Like, and it was like I usually think like I'm good through the shading, but the shading hurt.
Yeah, because it went from light, the dark to light, or it was light to dark from the top of your shoulders.
Light to dark. It's light to dark on my shoulders.
And once he got back there, it just felt like a knife.
Yeah, it just felt like a knife, and he just felt like I was getting stabbed, and I was like, yo, I'm paying for pain right now. I felt real weird. I felt real not good.
And I was telling you how there was that kid in high school. He got the wings tatted on his back.
Oh yeah.
And like people just see. It's good that you doing this now. Now that like you're not in school and you're older. Because back in high school, yo, people was fucking ruthless, man.
Oh no, yeah. In my high schow, we was horrible. Like 5 stars. I got 27 on the back of my neck too. Like if I would have got we were doing like things called like neck slaps. Oh
no, we had that. Yeah. We had that.
And then it's like, if I would have got a neck tat back then and they was doing that, I would have been suspended or expelled.
Oh yeah, there was 5-star on him in math class, man. It was like it was over for him.
You know what we used to do too? We used to do like when you used to slam on the lockers.
Yeah.
So like you used to hop on people's and like slam their face into the lockers and then just,
or like when they go into like a doorway.
Yeah.
And you dunk over them.
Exactly.
Damn. And I remember this poor kid. I think he was his older brother was affiliated with some local gang in the area.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
everybody who was like an upperclassman, because I was like a sophomore when this happened.
Yeah.
So everybody who like knew his brother and shit like that would just walk up to him in the hall and go and just like 5-star him right on the back because of the tat.
Right.
Nah, that shit's painful. So what's the meaning like behind it?
So like Harlem World, it was basically, so being that I'm from Harlem, like I also moved around a lot when I was a kid. Like I moved from Fishkill, New York, like shout out to 845, then like moved to the Bronx, and then like I went back to Harlem and back to the Bronx. Like I was moving a lot around, so I never really had a place where I was like, yo, this is where I'm from, like, and stuff like that. So up until like I was in high school, and I really started hanging out more in like urban city, like the Bronx and Harlem, and I was like, well, I ain't from the Bronx because the Bronx is a little dusty. Like, no disrespect to the Bronx. Like, I got mad friends in the Bronx.
Don't do that.
I got mad friends in the Bronx. Like, but like, you know, it was like Harlem would really just fit my character most. Like the swag, the persona, like your charisma, like your charisma is like unmatched when you're from Harlem. And I felt like that's the place where I mostly identify with. Got you.
So basically, I also wanted to talk to you about this Vogue shoot.
Yeah.
So how did you land that? Cause that's fucking major.
Thank you. Really, it was really by surprise. Like we had me and my friend Malik. We basically have this friend who goes to Syracuse University, and she went to study abroad in like Italy and France and all that and stuff like that. And she basically hit me up and was like, "Yo, like while I was out studying abroad, like I made some connects over at Vogue Italia and L'Uomo Vogue, like
right, because this was for Vogue and, over there, right?
It's for L'Uomo Vogue and Italia Vogue, and she was like, "Yo, would you want to be like, you know, the main like model for the shoot?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" Like, you know, it don't really got much to do with music, but like I believe in like cross brand and like every type of publicity is good. So
is fashion something that you're kind of like?
I'm definitely not into fashion. I'm definitely into style though. Like,
because I feel like that's a big part of like. Yeah, people who come from Harlem, they have like this very like strong sense of fashion and style. Yeah. So that's something that you're gonna keep doing, or is it like a one-off type thing?
No, it's like I will continue to keep doing it. Like I want to like get into. I want to be known for my style. Like, you know, I'm not a big fashion dude. Like I don't go to all like the runway shows and all that stuff. But you
don't fuck with that?
It's cool. Like when
it's kind of fun though. No.
Nah, cause it's like 10 minutes. It's like 10 minutes. Like you sit there, it's like this whole big like.
Do you ever wonder where the clothes that they wear on those runways actually go? Because that's something I always think about. I'm always like, I never see any besides like Yeezy and like maybe Louis Vuitton. Yeah. I feel like I never see those clothes on anybody, even famous people.
They're like show pieces. So like I know how it works a little bit because I worked in the fashion world for like a slight 4 months, but like. They're show pieces. They go into a showroom, so they aren't like for modern wear. They're for like collection pieces, like so they're worn to like balls and galas and stuff like that for like high fashion brands at least. Yeah. Like streetwear fashion, you can find it in the streets, but like when you go to like let's see, like Gucci or like Vera Wang, like these aren't pieces that you'll feast like find in Macy's or like your local streetwear shop.
Oh yeah, of course.
But like
I always imagine they just went to shops that were like. Way beyond.
See, like they don't even go in shops; they go in showrooms, and it's just like the showrooms are so exclusive because they be $50,000 dresses and $10,000 pants,
like some one-on-one type.
Yeah, one-on-one type stuff. Like, and then sometimes there are shows where things are mass produced, but for the majority of times, if you go into a fashion show, you ain't gonna see those clothes anywhere besides like like I said, those galas, those balls. Like, et cetera, et cetera.
So you don't fuck with any of that shit?
It's just, like, too much. Like, it's just, like...
You can't see yourself, like, for example, like, your Yankee hat right here. Like, it's very, like...
Yeah, it's very, like, out there. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like style. Like, I think if it's cool looking, like, I like it. But when you into fashion, you got to keep up with the trends. Like, and I'd rather set them than to be a part. So I say I don't want to be a part of fashion.
That's a good answer, too. That's fire. So you opened up for K Camp recently?
Yeah. I think like maybe 3 weeks ago.
How was that?
It was cool. Like it was definitely like an eye-opening experience. Like trying to bring people out where they gotta pay tickets and all that stuff. That was my like first paid performance. I had people like pay to come see me, and it was like doing that was like kind of like it put things in perspective for me. Where it was like. Things don't come as easy as you think in this music world. Like, as much people you think may listen to your music, as many people support you, it's like you got to really buckle down and really get on your grind to show people, like, yo, I'm better than the average, and you should come to see me rather than, you know, go to see, not even like to say you got to share the spotlight with anybody, but, like, the same way people go pay to see the top streamed artists, you got to prove to the commoners, like the common people that, yo, listen.
I think one of the most important like piece of advice I've ever heard somebody give an artist was that you have to have that same energy when you perform for like 5 people in like a dive bar,
literally,
as in front of like 1,000 like people at Coachella. Like, you always got to keep that same energy.
Yeah, it's the same energy, if not even more. Like when you like, cause I had like a small crowd of like maybe like 50, 60. Like it's like I had to put so much energy into like that small crowd that I was like, yo, I should, like, this is like game planning for when I'm in front of like 50,000. It's like, you know, if I can't entertain 50 people, how do I think I'm going to entertain 50,000?
Have you ever been in that situation where it's been like, I don't know, you performed somewhere and it was like 10 to 20 people in front of you?
No, I've never been in a 10 to 20 crowd, but I say like 40, 50 was like my smallest crowd. Okay. But it's just like, but I've also been in a scenario where I was in front of like 3,000 and it was a bad show.
It was bad? Why was it bad? What went wrong?
Because like at that time it was like my first performance. It was like Hampton University, and it was like
they just kind of tossed you into the fire, huh?
Yeah, it tossed me into the fire. 3,000 kids, and like I didn't really know how to perform at that point. I was performing full songs, so I had a vibe going on, but it got real. I got tired. It just got real bad.
You got tired on stage? Yeah. After how many songs?
After I had like 3-minute songs at this point, and I was like 4 songs in, so I'm like 20 minutes in. I had like another 20 minutes to go. And I was like, wow.
So it really makes you wonder how people be on stage for like 2.5 hours
like
performing.
After that performance, I like was super hard on myself. I was like, nah, we gotta practice. Like I can't get winded. Like this is embarrassing.
Yeah, like 3 songs in, and you're like, damn man, this is harder than it looks.
Exactly.
So what would you think is like what would you think has been like the hardest part of being an artist so far?
I think it's the self-critique for me. It's like I'm really hard on myself with music and releases and stuff like that. I need everything to be perfect. And you know, the hardest part is when you got to release it, you want people to see it for how you see it. And the hardest part is to realize that people are going to interpret and take it how they want to.
Yeah.
So you got to just kind of believe in yourself. And that's like that's the hardest part for me, at least. Yeah.
I think I feel you on that, because like I'm the same way with like this and like all the other content I do, even the stuff I do for like Power, and like I want to make sure that everything's like perfect.
Yeah.
And like if it's not, like sometimes I'll watch over like videos of like my podcast or this, and I'll just go back and I'll be like, oh, I didn't like this part, I didn't like this part, and I wanted this to like look like this versus this. And even like the graphics and all that, like everything's got to be like, if it's not perfect and I put it out there, I feel like shit.
Right, exactly. And the thing is like, especially with visuals as an artist, like the song you could like spend hours and hours on it, but with visuals it's like, you know, you're working on other people's time now. Like, you got, like, producers, cameramen, cast. So it's like...
And you don't want to waste their time.
You don't want to waste their time. So, like, you're, like, trying to rush, trying to make everything perfect. And that's why it's just, like... It's always good, though, to have, like, a solid team around you, though. Because they can make things transition and smooth much easier.
100%.
Yeah, like, like my DJ, Nyla, and my best friend, Malik, like, they help me a lot. Like, especially when it comes to music. Like, if it ain't perfect... Like it's a streamlined process when they're around rather than when it's just me. It take forever.
Because you be getting your own head about shit.
Exactly.
What Nyla be saying to you?
Nyla just be like, it's hot. Let's move on. Like, but my best friend Malik, he's the dude he'll be like, nah, let's take some more time, bro. That's not it. That's not it. And it's like, but you need a balance of both though, because sometimes you need the in-depth critique, and sometimes you need to just move on.
Which is like inherently the problem with a lot of people nowadays. Like so many people are just afraid to like say what's on their mind to like an artist or, you know, someone they work with,
and that's contributing to a lot of whack stuff being put out though.
Exactly. That's why you end up having 21 song albums that have like 2 good records on them instead of like a solid 10 song project.
Like, and people would rather rush to put out rather than take that time and put out some quality.
Exactly. So being from New York, something that I like to talk about with my New York artist guests. How do you feel about, because like, you know, there's been, I guess you could say like a resurgence of like New York artistry and hip hop and whatnot. How do you feel about like the current state of how things are moving? Of hip hop in New York specifically, yeah.
I think it's moving in a positive direction. Like, you know, it's always good when you have New York artists being put out there and, you know, exposure like the rest of like maybe down south how Atlanta is right now.
Right.
I think in terms of a sound for New York, I feel like New York is still a little confused.
Yeah, because there's so many different things going.
Yeah, it's like a lot of different sounds in New York. Like, you know, you can't really pinpoint which and what. But, you know, that's why I say it's good to have this resurgence of artists, because the light is going to be shed on the trendsetters. Like, you know, like once light is centered on the trendsetters, like New York is going to come to a real nice mold.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound and look real good again. Yeah. And we're going to take it back over.
Because I've been, you know, I've interviewed some of like your friends. Artists. Like I've had Stash and I've had Gangtivity here. Like I've had all of them come through here. And what's interesting about like all of them and yourself, of course, is that like all y'all have like a different side, which kind of like coincides with you saying that like all the sounds different, which isn't a bad thing at all. It doesn't. Like, you know, people complain a lot about how like Atlanta music is like pretty similar to each other, you know what I'm saying? Like it's different in some respects, but it's like at the same time it's kind of the same. Right. But your music compared to their music and like compared to Stash, compared to Gangtivity, like it's all like different.
It's all different, but that's the thing. Like with New York, it's always been a melting pot. Yeah. Like there's always been multiple sounds coming out of New York. Like, you know, you had times where there was like De La Soul, and then you had 50. Like, you know, it's like,
and then you had Joe and Pun.
Yeah, you had mad different sounds. Like, but that's the beauty of it all. And that's why we were the trendsetters. And that's why it's gonna come back. Like we were trendsetters. We were the most popular place of music because we came so differently. Yeah. And now that we're gonna just resurge that, it's like that's the most beautiful.
Hopefully,
thing about
our generation is the one who can like kind of bring.
Oh no, it most definitely will be our generation.
See, I like that.
I'm here, so it has to be.
So we speaking on music. Let's talk about Silk City.
Yeah.
I know you got your new. Yeah. You've been teasing the record.
Yeah, a little bit. Yo, Instagram's been playing with me a little bit. Like, they just like making my quality bad and stuff like that. But like, I'm about to do a real nice teaser in like a couple days.
Yeah, because I think you posted how many comments before you dropped the teaser of the song?
500. How
many are you at right now?
I think like 480.
Cause I've heard the song already, so so I'm not the one people you need to play it for. And I fuck with the song too.
Yeah, thank you.
So when you think, are you waiting until you get all those comments? Are you think about dropping it on another day?
I mean, quiet as kept. I already have a set date dropping it, but you know, it's always good to see people's excitement, and you always want to gauge, you know, how people are feeling about stuff.
And you're doing the right thing by getting people to comment and engage.
Right. It's like building that hype around, like, you know, especially like when you're an independent artist, like you got to build that hype around yourself. And you know, I feel like I do a good job of teasing and building that excitement and engagement to where like when it does drop, it makes some actual noise. Yeah. That's dope. So what we got coming up from you besides Silk City? Yeah, what we got? We got a lot coming up, you know. I definitely I came to a closure, like, you know, aesthetic, like how we gonna move forward from that. Like look out for that, you know, 7, look out for 2, 27. I'm hopefully gonna drop an EP soon called 27, where it's gonna really pretty much put everything in a nice gifting bow, like nice what is it called? Wrapping bow gift. Yeah. Where people like a cherry on top. Exactly. Like something where people could, you know, see everything come together real nicely. That's dope. Yeah. You got some shows coming up you want to promote? Culture Fest on April 20th. Shout out. Shout out Jocelyn. Shout out Gangtivity. Shout out Gangtivity. Spanx. NAO New Age Outlaws. You know, we're gonna turn it up then and there. And yeah, I think that's my next show coming up. For sure. All right, dope. Let everybody know where they can follow you, where they can get your music. You can follow me at 27 Deli on Instagram. That's my only social media right now. You don't got Twitter? Yo, I had a Twitter, but Twitter get a little like, it's too much. Like, it's too personal. You got to get back on Twitter, bro. Twitter's where it's at. I know. It's too personal. You know why? Because you get to read everybody's thoughts. Yeah. And sometimes I don't want to share. You want to disconnect? Yeah, if you want to disconnect from the world, disconnecting from Twitter is probably the better way to do it. Exactly. It's like it gets too personal. So at 27 Deli on Instagram. At 27 Deli on Instagram. All right, bro. I want to thank you for coming through. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to everybody else hearing Silk City because that shit's fire. Good looking. And looking forward to everything you got coming up. Okay. All right, it's Deli on the radar. Holla.